of motorsport this year. Tom Aiken, Mikey Porter and Morgan Tilbrook in their McLaren 720S.
That's the only McLaren we have here this weekend.
Is it really?
Yeah. I think
Been many years where we haven't had a car from Woking at all. So brilliant that that car can be with us.
One McLaren,
33.
One McLaren, one Bentley.
Yeah.
And then everything else is from Germany.
Yeah.
Which will go down to that way of is there ever going to be a race? We've had 20 so far, and every race has been won by a German manufactured car.
We've got the IRC GT in Queensland, Australia.
Yep.
Vortex of France. So there's one or two there that maybe have never entered Germany. There are others that purport to be cars from other nations, and
yes,
quite probably most of their components are manufactured in Germany. Over the line, a Porsche Cup car and a GT3 Porsche. Nice to be able to compare the two. Much wider car in behind, carrying all that extra aero, and the lights needing to be flashed by the race leader. It's a wide track through turns 3, 4 and 5, but there's really only one racing line. And when you've got cars that you need to get by in a hurry, i.e. those that aren't on your lead lap, very difficult to do that. And you've got to be confident, as James Winslow was saying,
yes,
that whoever you're about to lap has seen you and is providing enough space.
Well, in the race director's instructions and from the team meeting, as well as the supplementary regulations for Creventic are very simple. The overtaking car has to find a way around. The car being overtaken is to hold. Oh, the Rosso stopped in pit lane. He stopped on the entry to pit lane.
797, we've been quite rightly putting quite a lot of attention on this car, but
there is room. The cars can get into pit lane and get around the outside of the Rosso. It's pulled to the left-hand side. The team are running down there at the moment, but they may have to get marshals down there first because that is an active part of the circuit until they get to the pit lane line.
Yep.
So they can't enter the circuit. The marshals are telling them to stay out of the circuit, and there's marshals running down there to try and push that car into pit lane. The door's going up on the Rosso at the moment.
Nikita Mazepan in the car, and as he sits there, the number on the Lumi rank in the top left of the windshield as we look at it is going down and down as he loses places. But crucially, if your car is in need of fuel and potentially a driver change as well, that can be very, very tight. In fact, the pit entry is being called as blocked.
Yes. Well, we've got track staff in there. The car is mobile, so they are pushing it down pit lane. There are no other cars coming in at this time, and that is the pit lane is blocked, which means if any cars need to come in, they're going to have to do it under the speed limit before they get to the speed limit sign. As they're pushing that car down, drivers right down the pit lane, there is enough room for a car to get past it under its own steam.
And now it's being pushed to a safer location, but it was right on the apex, wasn't it?
It was indeed. They'll get that back into pit lane near the penalty box, which is down in front of us. But drivers right in the pit lane as the cars go right to left underneath us, looking across towards the pits from above the start-finish straight.
Job of the marshals because of the location of the car. As soon as they get to the white line, though, that begins the speed limit of pit road.
There's a heap of guys standing there in black helmets and black overalls from Graf Racing who are going to take that car back to the pit box.
So 3 marshals doing a wonderful job. There was then also at least 2 flag marshals, one before the corner, one after the right-hand dog leg that brings you onto the main straight via the pit lane. But so important to be warning anybody that was coming into pit road, as you say, at racing speed, because you don't need to be down to the 40 kph by that point.
Yep.
And the last thing you expect is a car to be stopped right on that right-hand bend that brings you into pit lane properly. It's been removed. The Graf Racing mechanics, what have we got? 4 of them now on the back of that car, so they've got one more than the marshal power. And it is.
And our driver is sitting half out of the car in.
Yeah, so Nikita Mazepan was not expected to be arriving into pit lane via manpower, but he will get there, thankfully.
Well, as when Joe was discussing it with the team, they said this is a test serious. This is a test for us. And the car was running really good up until that stage, and Joe put the mocker on that one.
Well, I did mention the fact that it was
Yeah.
spewing out oil smoke every time it pulled away from its pit garage. I don't know whether I was a harbinger of doom. The car now being pushed to the very back of the garage. That's purely because it's sharing with the Huber Motorsport
Yep.
Porsche team. Let's see if I can get in. Hopefully my mic string will stretch this far. It's backwards in there, and there's a lot of activity around the. This is a mid-engine car, of course. There's a lot of activity around the middle to the rear of the car, which is where the important bit is housed, of course. Nikita Mazepin went straight into a conference with Roman Rusinov, probably, reporting, how it manifested for him. Sometimes for a driver, they can tell you very little. It's basically, it can be as basic as the engine stopped working and the dashboard lit up. Is what I'm expecting, but I'll stretch the wire a bit more and could get back to you if I find anything.
Some good pace out there on the track at the moment. Freddie Tomlinson's just set the 495's best lap of the race. 495 being a car from the GT4 category, and that is the Team C MR Ginetta G56, and Cameron McLeod doing a good lap in car 901 as well, which is the Ajith Kumar Racing Porsche, but with the Australian at the wheel in the 992 division.
The IRC is just getting in the way of, was right up behind Sergei Solarov in the Winwood Racing, leading the race. They were only 0.6 of a second apart last time they came over the line, but a couple of cars got in between that battle, and it looks like Sergei may have just got that one out. Wait till they come across the line. It's Dustin Blattner who's got up there. He's 1.4 seconds behind him there. And this is the battle for GT3 overall and GT3 Pro-Am.
Yeah.
As Dustin's on the flashes down into turn one.
Yeah, both Pro-Am cars, but showing no let-up in pace compared to their fellow GT3, well, Pros and Ams.
Well, they both got, Thomas Kiefer, Dustin Blattner got past Thomas Kiefer, who is a GT3 Pro.
Yeah.
So, Sergei's going to have to be careful. He almost did track limits there at turn 5, just cutting that corner off a bit. But Dustin Blattner right on the rear bumper of him now. Car number 88.
So Blattner here last year with Car Collection Motorsport. He's done a Spa 24 hours in the meantime, though, as well. So no stranger to a 24-hour race, the German.
Yeah, he won the Golf 12 hours this year or last year as well in December, and he won both of those races down there, the 2 6 hours, and then Fanatec GT World Challenge in November. So we had a very, very busy 2024. A very, very quick driver.
So he's proving with that gap whittling down nicely, it stands at just a little more than a second.
I think he might have got him.
Oh, really? Already?
I think he might have got him.
Okay.
And just wait till we come into the next.
Yes, you're right.
He has indeed.
Yellow door mirrors on the Ferrari and is ahead of the Mercedes.
Change for the lead.
I was still paying close attention to the order that they finished at the end of the previous lap, but that is all old news now. And who's that all over the back of the now second place Mercedes? That'll be Thomas Kiefer in his dynamic GT Porsche with the lights frantically flashing.
Oh, he's going to go up the inside 16. I think the Winwood car has an issue. I think that has an issue. It shouldn't have been that easy for both of them to do that.
So in the 16 Mercedes, Stolyarov is of what grading? Stolyarov's one of the two AMs in that car. So you've got Rinat Salyukov, the other, Gabriele Piana, who started the race, Victor Scheitar, who I don't think's done any laps in that Mercedes to date. But yes, the sharp work of that Winwood Mercedes.
No, there was another Porsche. There was the 269 that got past him. So
okay,
it wasn't. Kiefer's still in third.
Kiefer's still in third position. I'll get these right in a moment.
It confused me as well.
I'll do that in a second. But Joe Bradley, who have you got this time?
Well, we saw the 797 being pushed in, the Rosser car being pushed in by the mechanics. Never a good sign. Nikita Mazepin, you were at the wheel of the car. What happened exactly?
Well, I haven't been in the car for long. I went out, it was code 60, and then we started pushing. And unfortunately, we discovered on the 80 an issue with an exhaust, which we were monitoring for a bit. But out of the last corner, I lost all the power. And I realized the car is not going to make another lap, so I had to pull inside the box. And as soon as I pulled inside the box, the gearbox said goodbye to me, and the car stopped, so I had to push it in myself. And the race is long, and I think we're going to change the engine and get back out. However, our competitors are getting an advantage now.
That is the spirit of endurance racing, though, isn't it? I mean, we came into this race. You were telling me this is a development on the Rosser car. This is all part of development, I suppose.
We would like to develop with a trophy in our hand, but let's see where it goes. We have a day to go, so we have our hopes up.
Yeah, they call this character building, Nikita. You've been around motorsport so long. I think you have enough character, would you say?
I think that's one thing I've got for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, fingers crossed. Good luck to the team. What do you do now as a driver while the team repair the car? How do you keep that mental approach?
Well, I was the third driver in, so I haven't really had any laps done. So I think I've got to keep my helmet ready. And if it's going to be looking like we're going back out, I have to be the one in.
Great stuff. That must be hard, though, because you don't know when you're going to get back in. So what do you do? How do you do that?
You just do it with a cold head like you would start the race normally, because, you know, in this race, if you try and be very quick like qualifying, it doesn't go very good. So do what I have to do, and the car hopefully goes together with me.
Yeah, brilliant. This car and you guys have become a fan favorite. Everybody interested in the car. Hopefully we'll see you back out there. Bad luck, Dave, but we'll see you back out there. Nikita Mazepin, you can see how disappointed, as he said, just got in the car and then that happened. No mention of blue points.
That does seem to be absent from any comments made by team members, but you do get some things right on occasion, I suppose, Joe. Stopwatch and all that.
Hey, that blue spot could have been gearbox, because you did say the gearbox gave up. It's the IRC, easily recognisable there. This is where it got in the way, and that's where the pass happened there over Thomas Kiefer. Dustin Blattner got up the inside of him, and then out in pursuit of Sergei Solarov. Great move, and there's the move down the inside at turn 10. Lovely stuff. Big penalty for the 777 coming out. Almanar Racing Team overtaking under code 60. 60 seconds in the penalty box. Darren Leung currently that's the first big penalty for any of the top 10.
Ferrari looking very, very good on the brakes. That's 2 overtakes done from quite a long way back on sequential laps, I think, to the Dragon Racing Ferrari 296 ahead of everyone. And rather leaving the Winward Racing Mercedes in its wake now. 6 seconds the difference. So Stolyarov may not have been overtaken by Thomas Kiefer quite yet, but there's only half a second between the two of them.
Yeah, that's coming down. That is really coming.
So the yellow door-mirrored Porsche is not on the lead lap. That was the one I was mistaking for Thomas Kiefer. There is Kiefer with the blue rear wing end plates and the blue headlights. So the blue shading and going to the same side there as Stolyarov. Kiefer homing in, 0.4 of a second behind. Alex Malakin is a further 13 or so seconds, so not in this gaggle. Just beginning the next lap now is the driver on the British licence this weekend. Spent much of last season in the championship winning World Endurance Championship GT3 car, LMGT3 car, running on the St. Kitts and Nevis flag.
Very popular flag, that one.
Yes, it seems to be. Well, Malakin has spent quite a bit of time in recent years in the UK, so goes with that nationality this weekend, the Pure Racing Porsche. And Ahmed Al-Hati, the Omani driver for Paradigm Competition, has got the best of the BMW M4 Evos, up to 5th place overall now for an AM car. That's really good going, Phil.
Well, AM car really good going, but let's have a look at Ahmed Al-Hati, what he has done. 3rd last year in the Asian Le Mans Series, LMP2. A lot of experience. 2019, first in the GT World Challenge Europe. And
Oh, beg your pardon. So I thought that was the potential change for 2nd place, but you go ahead.
First in the Blopon Endurance Series, Pro-Am Cup in 17, British GT Championship, GT3, in 2014. A lot of experience from our Omani driver, and he does an awful lot in Oman for the young karters, with getting the kart circuit and everything set up over there. And a great friend to this circuit as well. We've seen him here in the Porsche Carrera Cup Middle East as well.
Yeah, so the distance between the Mercedes and the Porsche has opened out a little bit on this particular lap. They go across the line having been just 0.4 of a second apart, 5.3 kilometers.